All right, so the agenda for this session is like we will have the introduction to Dataverse for Team. Then we will see like how we can make use of Power Apps as a Microsoft Teams app. Then we will further drill down into the using each of those components of Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent of Power Platform within Microsoft Teams as a part of Dataverse for Microsoft Teams. And then we will build some simple use case of leave management application. So before we start this session, quick introduction of me, myself, Nanddeep Nachan. I'm Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services, mostly working on to SharePoint, Office 65, and Microsoft Azure. Author of couple of books on SharePoint framework and SharePoint hybrid. And onto the right hand side below, here are few of the social handlers to get connected with me. And with me today, I have Smita.
Hello, all. Myself Smita Nachan. I'm working in a SharePoint technology for last 12 plus years. I am author of one book, and these are some of my social handles by which you can get in touch with me. So now let's see how Microsoft Teams and Power Platform works together and empower everyone to perform their activities. So we want you to think of a single hub from where we will able to integrate our business applications together. So mostly we use Power Apps for this purpose. So Power App help us to build mobile and web application with the data our organization already uses. So the secondly, we want to design the process automations. So here we can use Power Automate to create the workflows between our apps, files, and data to automate time consuming tasks. So, thirdly, we should be able to create the reports and get the insights. So, Power BI help us here to create those actionable, dynamic, and engaging data dashboards. So, which we can use to share with our colleagues. Once we have everything with us, we have a power of Microsoft Teams by which we are able to collaborate with our colleagues. And when we have all these things together in a single hub, which is a Microsoft Teams, from where we are able to take benefits of Power Platform within Microsoft Team. So now let's see quickly what is a Power Platform. So Power Platform is a low code platform wherein we will able to create the reports using the Power BI to the application development using Power Apps. So to perform this process automation using Power Automate and develop intelligent virtual agents as a bot using Power Virtual Agents. So these are the main four products of Microsoft Power Platform. It also offers few valuable features like data connectors with which we are able to connect to various data sources across Office 65 and beyond. Then we have a power of AI builder, which adds AI capabilities to our Power Apps application to build intelligence applications. And then we have a common data service by which we will be able to get the data from the various system. Even one thing to notice here that now we have a new icons for the Power Platform, including Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. So now let's see a short history from where it is started. So let's see. So in the month of July 2020, Microsoft announced something called as DataFlex. And this DataFlex gave us the flexibility by which we will able to create our apps, flows, Power Virtual Agents right within Microsoft Teams. So DataFlex gave us those flexibility. Then just within a month during the window of late of July or early August 2020, Microsoft renamed this DataFlex to Project Oakdale. The underlying concept remains the same, but now that we have this Project Oakdale, and then by ending of November 2020, Microsoft renamed Project Oakdale to something called as Dataverse for Teams. So whenever we talked about Dataverse for Teams, there are two things, or we can say there are two terminology you will mostly come across. So the first one is Dataverse, and the second one is Dataverse for Teams. So while we were working with the Power Platform, we use something called as common data service, and which is now renamed to Dataverse, and the flexibility which was offered by Dataflex Project Oakdale, by which we will able to create all of our apps right within Microsoft Teams, is now renamed to Dataverse for Teams. So this is the minor difference, but you have to keep it in mind that Dataverse versus Dataverse for Team. So now let's see Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. So Microsoft Dataverse from Teams delivers a built-in low-code data platform for Microsoft Teams. It provides relational data storage, rich data types, enterprise-grade governance, and one-click solution deployment. So Dataverse for Teams enables everyone to easily build and deploy apps. So now let's see what are the benefits of Dataverse for Teams include. So it support to build low code and no code apps, flows and chatbots for and within Teams. So core data capabilities from the same platform behind Microsoft Power Platform and Dynamic 365. So it storage rich data types with enterprise capabilities and one-click solution deployment. A new visual editor that makes it even easier to define and populate the data. Then we have enterprise security that easy to use and align with the approach used in Teams. Then its inclusion in most existing Teams licenses. It allows us the storage of 2 GB per team and supports for up to 1 million rows. It also supports up to 500 teams. So now let's see. The Dataverse for Teams environment is automatically created for the selected team when you create an app or bot in Teams for the first time, or install a Power Apps app from the app catalog for the first time. So the Dataverse for Teams environment is used to store, manage, and share team specific data, apps, and flows. So each team can have one environment, and all data, apps, bots, and flows created with Power Apps app inside a team are available from the team's Dataverse for Teams database. So now let's see some environment life cycle. So the lifetime of the environment is tied to the team it was created in. So if you upgrade an environment to Dataverse, the one-to-one mapping is not guaranteed because the environment can now be used by applications outside of Teams. The upgraded environment is bound by the lifecycle rules associated with the Power Apps license and the configuration of environment. So the some operations are blocked by default, such as the copy and reset operation. For scenarios where you need these capabilities, use Dataverse environments. If the team is deleted, the Dataverse for Teams environment that was created will also be deleted. The Dataverse for Teams environment itself may be deleted from within the team by the team owner. So now let's see these operations one by one. So the first one is a backup. So automated backups and labeled backups can be taken. Admins can view them in the Power Platform Admin Center. So the backups will be available for up to 7 days. Then we have a restore. So only point in time restores to the same environment will be possible. So just to note that if the environment has been upgraded, the point in time restore will only be available starting from the moment it was upgraded. Then we have a copy operation that is not available by default for Dataverse for Teams environment. Then we have a create operation. So only through Teams, and again here just to note that this Dataverse for Teams environment will be limited to a one-to-one mapping to the Teams team it was created in and bound to the Microsoft 365 groups associated with the team. Then let's see about this delete operation. So the environment can be deleted by the team owner. And just to note that the environment will be deleted automatically if the team it was created in is also deleted. Then we have a reset operation that's not available by default for Dataverse for Teams environment. And the last one is the upgrade. It unlocks all the functionality of Dataverse services for the environment.
So now that we have a basic understanding of what is meant by Dataverse for Teams, and now let's see like how practically we can implement Dataverse for Teams so that we can build our apps, bots, even the flows right within Microsoft Team using Dataverse for Teams, right? So this is how it looks like. This is how the operations can be carried out, or at least this is the UI by which we'll be able to interact with Microsoft Teams using Dataverse for Teams. So I will go to my Microsoft Teams environment. Before that, I just want to show you that I just have two environments here set up. First one is the default environment that comes with your Office 365 tenant, and then I have one environment created for it was Project Oakdale, but right now it is Dataverse for Teams. So I have one team created for Microsoft 365 Bangalore event. So now let's see how we can use this team for getting the benefits of this Power Platform using Dataverse for Team. So for that purpose, we will click on these three dots, more apps, and then from here we will try to search for Power Apps. Okay. Yeah, we have the Power Apps here. Okay, let it load. All right. So from here we can add, maybe we can add it to any of the team, but I just want to make it use as a personal app so that we can use it for Dataverse for Teams. So while it is loading, what I will do is right click on it and pin it, because we will need those for the future purposes for creating apps, bots, even the flows. So this is how it looks like. And then from here, we'll be able to create our new app. So we have three windows here: home, which will give us all of the apps that has been created or recently used by you. Then we have a build wherein we will be able to create more apps, bots, and even the flows. We will get to that later, and we have about, we just explain about this particular app. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll try to create an app. So once we click create an app, this will be kind of an power app, but firstly it will ask us to select or make a selection for Microsoft Teams. Okay, Windows still coming up. Right, let me close and try it one more time. Alright, so from here we can select our team. So what I will do is I will select the team which we have created just now for Microsoft 365 Bangalore, and then we will click on create. So what happens in the background is that when it is creating our Power Apps, in the background it will create one environment for us which can be used to store all of the apps that we create, all of the bots, and even all of the flows that we create using Dataverse for Team. So for that, if I again switch back to Power Platform Admin Center, where we have all of our environments, if I keep refreshing, we should be able to see that environment created very soon. Yeah, and now that we have this message, this new environment has been created, and this is the environment wherein all of the apps, bots, and flows that we will create through Dataverse for Teams will be stored in. So for example, if I delete this environment, automatically there won't be any there won't be anything as a backend to this app that we created, and then it will fail. And at the same time, when we will delete our team, even the environment which is associated with this team will get deleted. But at least this is a place from to where all of our apps, bots, and flows will get stored. All right, so now that we have our app ready, we can give it some name. Maybe I will just call it as orders. Yeah, orders app. Okay, because the scenario that we are going to build is a bit different, but before that I just want to make you aware of how the apps looks like, even how we can create the underlying tables for that, how we can associate those tables with our apps so that we'll be able to use that within our app. So now that we have this app ready, if I can zoom in a bit, you will see that we have some kind of an layout here, which will be shown to the user in order to use this app. So again, if I go to preview, here we will get the preview of it. So this is the entirely blank app, nothing inside here. Even if I click new record, there is nothing, but at least we will get a feel of how the app will look like when we will start building our app. Okay, so for that purpose, what we will do is first we will start by creating a table. And to that table, maybe I will just again call it as a orders table, wherein we will store all of the orders that we need. Okay, so I'll just click on create. So what it will do is it will just create a table, and obviously that table will be created inside this environment that we have. Okay, so um, to each of the table that we create, we get by default a column called as name. So for example, if you have used SharePoint, in that case, whenever you create any of the SharePoint lists, you get title column by default. The same way we have a name column here, which comes by default. But again, yes, you can edit this column and even rename it if needed. Again, from here, if you want to add more columns, you can either do it from add column from here, or we have plus icon here. So from here, we will be able to create more columns. So let's say I will just call it as a description. And for the types, we can select either text, email, URL, phone, auto number. So we have few types of columns that we will be able to create. So let's stick to text, and we will just click on create. So our new column is created just from here, and then we will be able to store our data inside this. So even I can add the data right within this creation window, and the data will be there. So even all those columns or data that we keep adding to this table will get automatically stored, and you will see that status updated onto the right hand side as saved. So what I will do is I will keep it very simple. I will just close this. So our table will be here. Okay, now that we have a table, and you can see that in the background it has also reflected our app. So now that we just had a name and description, those has been automatically updated here. So now if I click on the preview, you can see that we have a name and description. So for example, if I add any of the data here, that will go to the table that is serving as a backend for this particular app, which is our orders table. So it is not just that we can only create one table here, but probably even we can go ahead and keep on adding more tables. But I just want to show you another way by which we'll be able to add some data here. Okay, so for that purpose, again, I will go back to build, and from here you can see that we have another layout or another UI by which we'll be able to create our tables, apps, and many other things. So once we select our environment, we can see those two things that we created. First one is the Canvas app that we created called as orders app. And then we had created one table called as orders. Okay, so we can see all those options here. Even from here, you can click new, and you will be able to at least create only app and a chatbot. But if you want few more options, just click on see all, and it will take you to the window from where we will get some more controls on what things that we need. Again, we have those two same things lined up here. I will just click on new, and from here I can click table. Otherwise, even we have a kind of a very simple view wherein we will be able to see all of the apps, all of the chatbots, flows, even the tables that we created. So from here also we can go to the tables, and from there we will be able to create new table. So let's go ahead, try to create new table. So here it comes as kind of a docked window onto the right hand side, to where we will be able to give the table name, carry out few of the description, all those things. So for a time being, let's call it as a suppliers, because we just want to store the suppliers associated with our orders. Okay, and then it will generate a name for that table and the plural display name, which can be used within our applications. And once we click create, this particular table will be created again in the same environment that we have. So this table is created, but now if you see this has got more wider view, and we are able to see the rest of the columns which we have not created. because whenever we create a table, only name column gets created. But if you see here, we have lot many columns that we did not created. So all these columns get created automatically whenever we whenever the table gets created. All right, so it's like those are kind of an system columns or the standard columns which gets created automatically in the background. All right, so for example, if you don't want to see all of those columns and you are only interested to have a look at your own columns that you have created, in that case we have an option here for selecting the view. So from here, if you select all, that means obviously it will show all of the columns that you have created, and the custom columns, the custom columns that you have created, and the standard columns which are offered by Dataverse for Teams. Again, for example, if you just click on Manage, so that means it will show all of the columns which are managed by Dataverse for Teams. So that means only the system columns, only the standard columns. Okay. Again, for example, here, if you select Diff Custom, in that case, this will show the columns that you have created and not available as part of the table which gets created as part of Dataverse for Teams. So now that, for example, if we click on add a column, all of those custom columns that we create will be shown here. So here maybe I will just call it as city for a time being. And once we click data type here, you will see that now that we have more option to work with. Because if you compare this scenario with what we created when it was directly from the Power App, we had very limited options to select the data type. But now if you see, we have various options, including even for the text, we have text and the text area. That means single line of text and multi lines of text. And then again, we have various other options even for the huge range of varieties for numbers, date times, choices, and many more. So we have various options here. So from here, maybe we can select choices or anything, but just for simplicity, I will just keep it as text because we are not going to use this table, but rather the other table that we have created. And once we add, the city column will get created, and from here we'll be able to save the table. Now that we have two different tables, but again there is a relationship between these two tables that we have created. So we have orders and we have a suppliers. So in a real world scenario, the relation could be like one supplier can supply many orders. So in that case, we can go to this relationship tabs, and from here we'll be able to add that relationship between our two tables. So in this case, we will have one to many relationship because one supplier can supply various orders, and then we can select the other table to which we want to define this relationship for, and then here we can select orders, and this way we will be able to create one to many kind of an relationship between two tables. And then once it is here, even we'll be able to use this relationship within our apps, and then we'll be able to create our own apps. Okay, but probably just to keep this very short and due to time restrictions, I just wanted to show you the leave management application which we have built already. So before we go to the Dataverse for Team for its implementation, I just want to show you the implementation that we had before. So before the introduction of Dataverse for Team, we didn't had any capabilities to directly do this inside Microsoft Teams. But for that, we already have one application which was created on top of SharePoint list. So we have a SharePoint calendar list created, and on top of it, we have created the Power App, which can create the leaves and store it inside the SharePoint calendar list. And then we can also have the capability of having the approval using Power Automate. So this is that particular view which was which was created earlier to the introduction of Dataverse 14. So from here we'll be able to click on this plus icon. We'll be able to create new leaves, and then we'll be able to also carry out the approval by using Power Automate and all those things. But now let's say like when we have the capabilities of Dataverse for Team, how we can use those capabilities to build all this kind of an application right within Microsoft Teams. So now that I don't have to switch between the multiple applications, like example SharePoint where I have this list store, and then to the Power Apps where I am defining my app, and then to the Power Automate where I can create my approval flow. But all these things can be placed together in a one thing called as Dataverse for Teams. So for that purpose, I will again go back to my team and okay, then I have one team created here called as Project Oakdale demo, and inside we have all those capability built in. So for that again, let's go back to the Power Apps, and then I will click on Build, where we will get some more wider view to work with. I will select this Project Oakdale demo team that I had already created, and then we have this Leave application created here. So the same way that we build this app earlier, even this app has got created. So let it load. Again, for this particular app, we have few tables into the background, and then we have the Power Automate and even the flow, which will carry out the approval part, and then the chatbot. Okay, so it is getting still ready. All right, but again, while it to pay your attention onto the data structure that I have. But okay, all right. Since it is loaded, probably let's check how it looks like. So once I click on preview, here we will be able to create our new record as a new leave request. So here we can specify the name like maybe a sick leave or any kind of a leave. Then we have a departments here, including R&D, finance, HR, marketing, and then we have a leave type as sick leave, annual leave, or complementary leave, and then we have a start date and end date for our leave. These are all columns that has to be filled in by the requester who want to apply for the leave, and then we have few columns which are in a read-only mode for leave reference number, which will automatically get generated, and then we have approval status here and the approver comments, which will come when the approval will happen. All right. So this is how the app is, and then from here we'll be able to see the leaves that we have applied in the past, and even take some actions on it. Right. So just just to start with, we have two tables created here. One is called leave request, wherein we will store our request, and then we have approvers where we are storing all those approvers. So for that purpose, I will again go back to the build so that we will get the wider view to work with. I will click see all so that we'll see all of the tables that we have as a supporting for this Power App. So once I go to the table, we have a leave request table here. Okay. So okay, let it load. And then we have selected this view as a custom so that only we'll be able to see the columns that we have created specifically. So we have these two columns created for the approval purpose. Then we have a department, and you can see that this one is a lookup column, which one is coming from the approvers table. Okay. And then we have a start date, end date. The leave reference number here is an auto number. So each of the leave that you will create will automatically get one auto number, right? And then we have leave type as a choices, then name as the name of as a simple text to define our leave. If I come to the approvers table, here again we have a simple table with just two columns. One is approver, and then we have a department, and department is a lookup column to the leave request. Okay, so this is very simple thing. If I click on edit data here, you will be able to see that for each of the department we have one approver. So for R&D department we have admin, for marketing other, and finance HR we have separate approvers for each of those departments. So we have now the background, like how we can create our app, and then how we can create the tables in the background for supporting our app, right? So this is how we will be able to create this app, and then we will be able to use that inside our Microsoft team. Even in the end, we will see like how we can publish this to Microsoft Teams so that all of the users or all of the end users, how they will be able to access those. Okay, so let us move to the next part, like how we can integrate the Power Automate with Microsoft Team. So Power Automate again help us to carry out our business automation using the flows, where we can define the, maybe one example is approvers, and they will carry out the approval process. So right within Microsoft Teams, even we are able to build out those experience. So in this particular scenario, we have this leave request, and while creating the leave request, we select our department, and in this particular table for approvers, we have one approver defined for each of the department. So with this background, we are now going to create one flow by which we'll be able to carry out that leave approval process. So again, for example, if you want to create a new flow, you can click new and flow here, and from here you'll be able to create automated flows, instant and scheduled flows. Okay, and again, since this flow is being created into this particular Microsoft team, it will be stored into this environment, right? So let me open up that flow. I will just click on edit to get to the flow. Again, this flow is very simple. We have two tables to work with. One is a approver and one is a leave request table. So all of the leaves which are been applied by the user will go to the leave request table, and then we will look up to the approvers table, get the specific approver, and then carry out the approval process. So what happens here is that whenever a new record is created, updated, or deleted, we will take this activity and we will only handle the condition of trigger condition of created. So whenever new record is created, what we will do is we will get all of the approvers that we have from our approvers table, and then we will only stick to the department which user has selected. So that means we are only getting the approval from the department which user has selected while creating that leave request. And once we get that approver, for example, if there are multiple approvers, we will look through it and we will store those in a variable. Okay, and then we will just set that particular record as a leave pending status. And then we will start with the leave approval process. We will send out a mail to the end user, oh, sorry, to the approver to have it approved. And then once we get the approval status back from that flow, and if it is approved, in that case, we will update that particular record with leave status as approved. If no, then unfortunately the leave is rejected. Okay, so this is how the flow looks like. Again, for example, I will go back to maybe to the home and let's see like how this app works. Okay, so for that purpose, again, let me go to the build. I know that we had to switch between various windows, but this is how it works. So again, let us go back to the leave management app that we have created, and let's see like how it will be look like as an end-to-end process. So let it load. Now that what we will do is we will try to publish this particular app to our Microsoft team, and let's see like how the experience for the end user will be. Okay, so now that we have this and this app is connected to these two tables called as leave request and approvals, and here we have published to teams, and even before publishing it you can click on preview and test this scenario like how your apps is working, whether your data is going to the tables and other things. And once you are fine with your testing, what you can do is you can click this publish to teams. So now that it will just save your power app to the environment, and then from here you will be able to publish this app to your Microsoft team, so that for all of the end users they will just get this power app as a tab to work within your Microsoft team. So let it load. All right, so again from here we can either select any of the tabs that we want, and then we can just click on so here we already have few apps. Maybe let me delete the other apps that I have. Okay, all right. So now I can just click save and close, and this app will be published to my team. Okay, so from here, if I go to Microsoft team, but rather just to save the time, I will maybe show it at the end. For a time being, let's go to this preview and we'll try to create a new record. So I will just call it as M365 BLR. And then in the department, I will just choose R&D department, leave type, maybe a sick leave, start date ending on a Monday, which is a good day to fall sick. Right here. And then we won't be able to add anything to the leave reference number because this will be auto generated. And once I click save, the leave will be created in the background. And we have this leave here, and you can see that we the leave reference number for this LR0008. Okay. So what I will do is I will try to open up my Outlook, because I know that I'm the approver for this department. So sooner the flow should get triggered, and then we should be able to see the leave request here. So now that we have this leave request, since I'm the approver being defined into the table that we created, the leave request came to me as admin user. Okay, I don't think this is okay. Right. Okay, I think someone has approved this. Okay. All right. So this is how at least it will work. But I think this one is this one is old request, not the one that we created. Okay. So what for that purpose, what we will do is again we will move back to build tab. Oh, why this is not going inside. All right. Okay. So we will go back here. We will click on see all, and then we will have to click this one. Okay. All right. So now that from here again we will go back to the flows that we have. We will click on leave management approval flow that we built in. I don't think still we have got the email. So let's see like whether flow has got a chance to run. Okay, so flow hasn't got a chance to run. What we will do is we will go ahead and run this flow manually so that it will be able to pick up that record and run it. Okay. Okay. Right. I will edit it one more time. Okay, and I will just click on test so that the flow will get chance to run because we don't have any control over the flow like at what time it will run, but I'm just manually triggering the flow, and hopefully if the demo god is good on us, we should be able to see the flow running, and then we should get the email as an approver email. Okay, it's working. Right, let it go through. No email yet. Okay. All right, let it load until the time we will cover the theory part. So this is how at least we will be able to build these flows right within Microsoft Team using Dataverse for Team. So the next thing is like even how we can integrate this Power Virtual Agents within Microsoft Team. So Power Virtual Agents help us to create a simple bots wherein we can get the intention of the user, build our flow using the canvas, and then it can work to reply to the end users. Okay, so even all those Power Virtual Agents can be built right within Microsoft Teams. So the scenario here will be like whenever we are applying for the leave, we just want to or the end user who are more curious to know like what is the state of their leave, like whether it is approved, rejected, for what reason, and all those kind of thing. They can see this bot. Miss, at least I know that this bot will have too much of traffic with this bot being a leave request kind of a bot. So to this bot, we can send the messages like what is the status of my leave. It can reply back to us by again going through that table, getting the status of that particular leave, and then it can reply back to the user based on what is the status of the leave that they have applied. So with this, again, let's try to see. Okay, the flow seems to be still stuck, but not an issue. We can, yeah,
We have 5 minutes left.
yeah, correct. I will cover up the flow in 5 minutes, and then we can go for questions for 1 or 2 minutes. All right. So let me go back to the flow here. So sorry, to the chatbots here, and then right within Microsoft Teams, we are able to even create these chatbots. So from here, new chatbot, you can create that bot. Let me quickly jump to the leave management bot that we have here. Even you can see that it has appeared as a app to the left rail, so even to which you can right click and pin so that you be able to see those chatbots here. So the chatbot is loading, but again, it is the similar experience of PVA that we have seen from the Power Virtual Agent. But again, now I think the Power Flow has got chance to run, and we have this leave request here. Okay, so this one is still in the pending mode. We haven't approved, but what we will do now is we will explore this bot. So this is a similar experience that we have, and then again from here we can go to the topics, define the intentions of the user, like what they want to get out of this particular bot. Obviously in this scenario it will be the leave management related intents, like what is the status of my leave and all those things. So I have all those intents being defined here: leave status, check leave status, what is my leave status, and all those things. So with that, I will just go to this authoring canvas, and here we can build our entire flow. So the triggering point for this will be the intention of is my leave approved and all those things. So firstly, we will ask the user with the leave reference number. Once we get that, we will store it in a variable, and then what we will do is we will call this particular flow, which will help us to get that data back from the tables that we have stored. So in that case, it will just it will just kind of query to the tables, get the information about the leave status, and then it will again reply that status back to our Power Virtual Agent. Okay, so I will just maybe keep it very simple just to save the time. So once we get the status, based on whether the bot was able to find that value from the table, if it is yes, in that case, we will go ahead and show that status to the user. Otherwise, we will say that we were not able to locate your leave. Maybe try adding it one more time. So with that, I will just try to test this bot. I will just click or send a message leave status, so that it will get the intent that we want to use this for leave reference. So the leave reference that number that we have right now is 0008, which is the one that we created. So I will just send that to bot, because you want to check the status of that particular leave request. Now that it has able to locate that thing, and now that it is saying it is pending. So for example, if I again go back here, click on approve, so it will get approved. And again, for example, next time whenever we will send this message to the bot, we should get it as approved. But you just have to trust me that it will go back to that table, and it will give us the status as approved or rejected based on the approval request. But I will just keep it very simple, and at least this is how we'll be able to create our day-to-day life examples with Dataverse for team. So leave management was one of those. And again, few of the helpful resources for you will be if in case you want to get more deep into the Microsoft Team Power Platform, or even Dataverse for Microsoft Teams. These are few of the references that you can use. Again, we have very good community references from Reza Dorani, Laura Rogers, even from Vesan Opanen. If in case you want to get more deeper into this Dataverse for Team, start building your applications with Dataverse for Teams. Okay, and with that, thank you very much for having us here and listening to us. If there are any questions, we can get to those.
Thanks, Nanddeep. We have a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
I will go from backwards. The last
Sure.
question is, on the leave approval app, can I create different views for manager user? Also, can I have an optional toggle for manager to log in as user, so apply for his leave?
Yes, we can do that, because at the end, this one will be just the Power App. So all of the things that we are able to do with the Power Apps are also possible with Dataverse for Teams. So yes, we should be able to do that.
Okay.
So at least I did not found any kind of a limitation that we can do with Power Apps, but not with Dataverse for Teams.
Okay. The next question is, I have created a MS Teams app using MS Teams App Studio, which launches a SharePoint site homepage within Teams. How can I publish or pin the app only for targeted audience based on department attribute in Azure AD? The Teams app policy permissions only allow to add individual users, not O365 Azure AD groups or dynamic Azure AD groups.
Right. This question is very much related to the Teams policies that we have. And again, in the Teams policy, we don't have that option as of yet. So only thing is that at the moment we will have to keep adding those users one by one. So there is no direct relation between the RBAC that we define inside Microsoft Azure and the team policies that we have set up. So for a time being, we will have to do it user on user basis.
Okay. I think it's a good point for to sharing in the user voice, right? As a featured
Yes,
request.
correct, correct.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
And the last one is, don't we have themes available anywhere here? What the demo you are showing? Ramesh, this is the question asked by Ramesh.
Yeah, Miss. At least the demo that I have shown you, this one is from the build experience. So what happens is whenever we'll publish this app to our Microsoft Teams, it will be shown directly as a part of Microsoft Teams. So for example, if I go here Go to the general channel. I think this is the app that I had. Or one moment. No, this is not the app that I had. Mm,
The themes in my Power Apps. That is what is the question.
Correct, correct. No, but at least this one won't be the Power app, but this one will be the um, app within Dataverse for team. So this is how it will look like. So this will
Okay.
follow your team. Oh, sorry, follow your theme, not team.
Okay. Fine. That's it. These are the questions. Thanks everyone for joining. Please share the feedback. The feedback link was shared just above by Jasjit. We will start